television, where we say to us it is. On this program, we speak to issues exactly as it is, having deep and frank conversations about everything that matter in Nigeria. We look through the front pages of different dailies, and then we talk afterwards. It is, the Thursday edition of this program. Some call it the Throwback Thursday, but whatever we are throwing back here is towards the public good. Femi Ojo is my name, and I'm not alone. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Femi.
Right. How are you?
Very well. And you? How do you do?
Well, how do you do as well? We thank God for his message.
Absolutely.
We are all
great to be a Nigerian.
Right.
Good morning once again. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, viewers from all over the world. And thank God it's Thursday. Welcome to another edition of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. It promises to be a wonderful show as always. And you do not want to miss any segment of this show because we have quite a lot today. Just yesterday, Femi, we were talking about the state of the nation. We had Mr. Ologun alluding to the fact that opposition is dead in Nigeria. And interestingly, just yesterday, something happened that really touched me. I watched in dismay as the governor of Delta State, in his entire cabinet and the entire PDP structure in Delta State defected to the APC, singing on your mandate. And I began to ask myself, what is happening in Nigeria? Okay, if some people are accusing Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of tyranny, then what are they doing? What kind of opposition do we have? Now we have weak institutions, then we have weak individuals, spineless individuals who stand for nothing. Everybody's joining the bandwagon. What has happened to opposition in Nigeria, for God's sake? How do you blame a man of capturing states? Did they put a gun to their head? And Femi, let's look at it this way. Yeah. I mean, talking about River State and Delta State, these are two states that literally hold the wealth of the nation. I'm talking about oil-rich states here. And they've already been captured, as some people would say, so to speak, by the APC. The question is, how were they captured? Individuals who voluntarily decided to jump ship, okay, just to, play to the gallery. And I ask again, Femi, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was governor of Lagos State, when he was a last man standing as opposition governor, when he wasn't getting federal allocations, if he had jumped ship, if he had dumped his party, would he be where he is today? That's the question.
Well, so much to really talk about, and you have harped on many of those issues. There's the almost non-existent political parties, because starting from Delta State, you mentioned Rivers as well, that one will not really say is neither here nor there, because Simfubara is still a governor, they were suspended, but then the workings in that particular place, you can never really, APC, you can never really say the party that is in power, so to say. But then,
we know what's happening.
If it's the operations, okay, then Delta, and you spoke about the states that hold the wealth of the nation, two of those states. The other one is Akwa
Ibom, which is now singing, exactly,
which the governor
of APC
has told everybody publicly, in as much as presidency is concerned, come 2027, he already pitched his tent with, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he says it's a unity government right now. That's what he calls it. It's a unity government. So whatever the party chooses to do in 2027, he has aligned himself with the president. And this was how, the Wiki and his group started as well, although with different contexts, right? But then the entire structure of the PDP in Delta State has moved, starting with the governor and the former governor as well.
Who was also the vice presidential candidate, Ifeanyi Okowa.
Vice presidential candidate of the PDP, while his former principal is still talking about merger and opposition. He has moved on as well. And here, Osun State, a very ranking member of the House of Reps at the national level.
I think he's a sixth-term rep, right?
He has spent 20 years at least at the National Assembly. In fact, he has been contesting. He has only lost once, to Nathaniel Agunbiade of the APC. And since then, he has returned Of course, he has been making, his moves, and many persons have been watching his body language. That's talking about Oluwole Boo, a member of the parliament, and he has, wrote officially that he has left the PDP, although he hasn't officially stated where he's heading to. But then, if it sounds like it, if he walks like it, if the body language is like it, maybe it is, it's just to speak, and he speak about the opposition that you talk about. Possibly 2027 is home and dry as far as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is concerned, humanly speaking. But then, again, never say never. Even when it doesn't sound like it, never say never. So, a lot to really talk about this morning. But then the papers are in, and it's not just about the defection. It's going to be a worthwhile one this morning. Good morning. Stay with us. All right, we kickstart the headline segment this morning from the Daily Sun. Quite a very interesting headline. Boldly written, PDP bleats as Delta Governor Rep join APC. Politically speaking, that's the biggest news right now. PDP bleats as Delta Governor Rep join APC. With a rider, Atiku Wike should leave PDP immediately, Bode judge. Atiku Wike should leave PDP immediately, but a judge, and one might want to say, if you are telling them to leave, they can choose not to leave. If your party has the steel, let them expel them. It's as easy as that. Somebody is doing anti-party, I'm talking about Wike now, and he feels Atiku's days are over in the PDP, the party should come with a position. And it's not just about the PDP, actually. A very ranking, big stature senator in Kano State defected yesterday from the NNPP. The NNPP that swept Kano State in the last election, they are losing their members. And when you lose a senator, in a state of the NNPP, we even let Rabi Musa Kwakwanso has been in a meeting. It was in a meeting, with President.
Yeah, we hear he's coming back, and some people are asking him that to apologize. He has to come back to the APC. What for me is quite unfortunate what we are having now. It shows the character of our politicians. What we have are just selfish, self-serving politicians who only care about their own interests.
I want to say that it's not new, even though it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be about ideology, right?
Absolutely.
But then it's not new. It has always been. People has always been jumping ship. Maybe the likes of Mr. President and few people are the ones that have always maintained, especially from 1999 now, a particular place. Almost everybody has been jumping. 80% of everybody.
But it's unfortunate.
Have been jumping and jumping.
It doesn't make any sense. Come to think of it, this is politics now. Now, let's relate it to religion. Just imagine someone coming out today telling us he's a Christian, then tomorrow he's a Muslim. The next tomorrow is a Christian again. Then the next day is a Buddhist.
I think
the gods will not take you serious.
I think you are comparing apples with oranges. Politics is a different kettle.
No, you should stand for something. That's what I mean. They should stand for something.
All right. Now, Atiku Wike should leave PDP immediately, Bode George. And below that, you have some people at a function. And at the center, you see the UBA chairman there, Tony Olumelu, and at the other side you have the other picture is Eminence Cardinal Francis Arinze, from Nigeria, obviously, and 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, second left, paying their final respect to His Holiness Pope Francis at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome yesterday. The body is on display and will end by Saturday. He will be interred. All right, away from that, Nigeria moving towards totalitarianism. Wants ACF and cautions against defections. Okay. An airline suspend flight as NIMET workers embark on indefinite strike. Okay, and well, you can imagine what kind of disruption that would do when people want to do business, travel abroad, move from state to state for whatever reason, business, health, education, pleasure, the issue is sometimes in Nigeria, some of these things that can be avoided could be seen. Sometimes some of those things will have been talked about, muted for like 2 months before that time, a month before that time, even 7 days before that time, and it will still happen. Absolutely. And after everything has been disrupted, then you now see a minister, a permanent secretary, some person say, oh, we are calling a meeting, and after like 2-3 days, oh, everybody has sheathed their swords and everything is fine. You know why? No deterrence. Everybody can continue to do whatever anyhow. Marwa canvasses drug test for core members, prospective couples, others. Interesting. Marwa, that's General Buba Marwa of the NDLA. Marwa canvasses drug test for core members, prospective couples, and others. And many persons have been saying, let's have drug tests for aspirants as well.
Absolutely.
Into political offices. Yeah. Okay. Especially candidates. Everybody, not just aspirants, candidates. The moment they clinch a party ticket, everybody aspiring for public office, you should be tested, because some of the things that they do, you might want to think.
And I think they require psychiatric tests.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
No, one of them just said that the other day. I'm trying to place who it was actually, that they need psychiatric tests to test how they think, how their minds work before they get into office. 2 killed, soldier injured in Plateau community ambush. 2 killed, soldier injured in Plateau community ambush, and headers. Youth trade words over alleged poisoning of cows. It is not true. Fulani push cows into pesticide-treated farms. Mwagagul youths, and it is a dangerous trend. JNI, we can afford to have these again. Whatever is cooking should be brought off the fire, and the charcoal and the firewood, stopped from burning immediately. Either it's a community issue, either it's a farmer elders issue. And the narratives here says elders, youth trade words over alleged poisoning of cows, and the youths are saying it is not true. It is Fulani that push cows into pesticide-treated farms. It should be handled. And I think killings, again, Tinubu issues fresh marching orders to security chiefs. Says enough is enough. I think that's becoming a cliche right now. Absolutely, we've been hearing that all this while.
IMF to federal government, don't sideline poor Nigerians in energy subsidy reforms as Tinubu unveils energy transition plan. That will be all from the Daily Sun.
And from the Daily Sun, we move straight to the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Hurdles for opposition parties as APC wins more governors, others. Hurdles for opposition parties as APC wins more governors, others. Quite interesting. We were just talking about defection, a major one yesterday, seeing the entire PDP structure in Delta State defecting to the APC. And one begins to ask, what is happening to opposition when we have leaders who lack the moral and mental capacity to be in the opposition? What do? They just join the bandwagon. They play to the gallery. And that's exactly what is happening in Nigeria. And it's quite unfortunate. Away from that, moving on to other stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. ECOWAS to relocate institutions from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. ECOWAS to relocate institutions from Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. World Health Organization to downsize operations amid major funding cuts. World Health Organization to downsize operations amid major funding cuts. You'll find a story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. We've been unfairly blamed for insecurity in Imo. IPOB laments. We've been unfairly blamed for insecurity in Imo. IPOB laments. You'll find that on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. And right at the middle of the page, you'll find a picture of the president. That's Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Beside him, you'll find to his left, there's a picture of Fubara there, governor, suspended governor of Rivers State, similar like Fubara. Then, of course, the former governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, who was also vice presidential candidate for the PDP in 2023, who just yesterday defected to the APC alongside the governor and the entire PDP structure in Delta State. Then also to his right, we have, I think that looks like Ganduje, of course, the APC chairman. Then also, this looks like Sheriff or Boriwari. I think I'm right. So these are the pictures, right? That Sheriff. Okay, absolutely. So those are the pictures right there. Talking about defections, cross-carpeting from party to party, which brings to question the character of the politicians we have in Nigeria. When you keep jumping ship, when you're just playing to the gallery, just imagine the entire structure of a party in Delta State, talking about PDP, defecting to the APC, and you were there singing on your mandate. And I think it was quite disappointing. It shows that you do not stand for anything. What kind of opposition are you putting forward? That's the question you should ask yourself. You should set your minds and ask yourself what you truly stand for. If you cannot hold your own ground, and if you ask me, I'll say it's quite shameful. No apologies. It is what it is. Away from that, moving to other stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. At the bottom strip, insecurity. Tinubu security chiefs in talks. 36 states, 36 governors discuss crisis in Abuja. Tinubu security chiefs in talks. 36 governors discuss crisis in Abuja. You find a story on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. 10 billion naira Aso Rock solar project, an admission of power sector failure, says Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HORIWA. 10 billion naira Aso Rock solar project, an admission of power sector failure, says HORIWA. That's the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria. Just recently, the Federal Executive Council approved 10 billion naira for solar power project for the presidential villa, that's Aso Villa. And the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria saying it's simply an admission of the failure of our power sector. But yesterday, Bayo Ononiga released a statement saying that, well, that it is proper that even in the United States, that's what they have at the White House. They also have a solar power project at the White House, that there is nothing wrong. But I say again, if everything is working fine in Nigeria, if people are not suffering, look at the hardship in Nigeria. If the hardship is not so much, no one will be complaining about your solar power project for the Aso Villa. But when you compare, when you juxtapose that with the current economic situation, what the average Nigerian is going through, that is why they are saying this is unfair. That's just it. It's not as if it's bad for Aso Villa to have a solar power project. No, but look at the hardship in the nation. And again, it goes to confirm that the power sector in Nigeria has failed. And that's exactly what that is about. And
just like you said, as an addition, some persons will not have issues with whatever solar plan they are having, for power at the Aso Villa. The grasp of many persons, at least if he feels from the street is anything to go by, is the fact that you guys are always making plans for yourselves alone.
Absolutely.
It doesn't, go around. Not even only for the Abuja people. Let's say, okay, you can't go around at the moment. How about having the same power plan for just FCT? At least you wouldn't, and not just for the people in Maitama or Asokore alone. People in Lugbe, in Karu, in all of those probably here. So that people will know, oh, it's not only for you. You're having issues at the Aso Villa with power. All of a sudden, you're coughing out 10 billion naira, for another plan so that you will be properly powered. What happens to the rest of the 200 million people who don't have access to that? That's the major grasp of some persons to say, Aso Villa should not be in darkness for whatever reasons, but whatever is good for the Aso Villa is good for Itakwagu in Oshogbo.
Absolutely.
It's good for Kwali in FCT. And in the middle of all this, just like you said, there can be, the way the government of the day have been running and their handlers, anything that looks like sacrifice, they can't afford it. They cannot. They are the only ones that should not live in darkness.
Absolutely.
They are the only ones that should have the proper forerunner to ply the roads and all of those things. But others,
they tell you to tighten your belt.
Tighten the belt. The shokoto is not even available again. The trouser is nowhere to be found. Everybody is naked.
Absolutely.
So where's the trouser? Where's the belt? That's the grasp of many persons. How come you are always the one taking care of yourself? Not yourself. Whatever is good for you, why not start it? But then their handler, their supporters will still defend it. Even somebody that has nothing to gain because of tribal and political affiliation, people will still defend anything. Well, it's okay. They can make do with their candles. Please go ahead.
Quite unfortunate. It seems as though one doesn't need a brain to be a leader in Nigeria. All you have to do is know how to play to the gallery. Just dance to the tune and you'll be fine. Quite unfortunate. Still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Away from that, moving on to other stories, to the top strip right now. Lagos has shortfall of 66,000 doctors, nurses, says government. Lagos has shortfall of 66,000 doctors, nurses, says government. That's a huge one there. Just imagine a deficit of 66,000 health workers in Lagos State alone. Quite interesting. There was a report I saw recently saying in Lagos they have just about 7,600 registered doctors, which means they need much more than that to function.
Exactly.
Moving on to other stories. Scandals. President won't allow Akpabio to step aside, say senators. President won't allow Akpabio to step aside. Dashivi says senators. Of course, Akpabio has always been a staunch supporter of Mr. President. He's doing a good job for Mr. President. Why should he step aside? Away from that, reps say 1,723 vessels engage in sharp practices on Nigerian waters. Reps say 1,723 vessels engage in sharp practices on Nigerian waters. And you find that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And that'll be all from the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, from the Guardian newspaper, we move to the Daily Trust. 2027, allow younger people to run, Baba Ahmed tells Tinubu. 2027, allow younger people to run, Baba Ahmed tells Tinubu. And below that, you have the security meeting that was held yesterday at the Villa. All right. Delta Governor Atiku's running mate, others join APC, and insecurity, enough is enough. President tells security chiefs, is enough really enough? Are we there yet? Are we doing what it takes to say enough is enough? Besides that, patients stranded as workers strike cripples FCT PHCs. Patients stranded as workers strike cripples FCT public health centers. All right. An aviation crisis. Air Peace. Foreign airlines suspend flights. That'll be all from the Daily Trust.
And from the Daily Trust, we move straight to the front page of the Punch newspaper. Opposition weakens as more PDP governors, senators eye APC. Opposition weakens as more PDP governors, senators eye APC. With riders, Delta Governor Okowa, Oshun, Jigawa, PDP chieftains, others defect to APC. PDP, Bode George, attack Tinubu. And that's talking about the recent defections to the APC, and more governors, more PDP governors and senators are eyeing the APC. I mean, whatever happened, I mean, so the fact that if you contest and win an election on a platform, if you quit that party, if you choose to leave that party, then you should also resign. You should leave your position. I mean, it's quite unfortunate. We have people, you've won an election on a particular platform, then all of a sudden you decide to jump ship. If you are honorable, then you should resign. You should leave that position.
There is a position given by the law. If you can prove that there is leadership crisis, possibly at the national or the state level, but then for Delta State, I wonder what their reasons will be for the honorable. But then that should be the headache of the PDP, actually. If they feel cheated, actually, if they feel their mandate has been taken away and, taken to another party then they should approach them.
Absolutely.
They should handle their business.
Yeah. For me, it's just, for me personally, it's not about the PDP and the APC. Like I've said this before, I have no interest in any of those parties. It's about the character of our leaders. It shows they stand for nothing. Most of them are just self-serving. That's the problem. It's not about APC or PDP.
All right.
Just the same set of people just trying to, further their own interest. That's all.
And that's why I say it has always been. It has always been. Like that, we will talk about that in the course of
quite unfortunate right there. Away from that, moving to the bottom strip of the Punch newspaper. Killings. Tinubu demands fresh security blueprints from intelligence chiefs. Tinubu demands fresh security blueprints from intelligence chiefs. And you can see a picture right there of Mr. President with, I think that's also the chief of staff, then some of the intelligence chiefs right there. I do not have full details of that. Moving to the bottom strip of the Punch newspaper. Federal government grants tax waivers to Dangote, Mikano, and 103 others. Federal government grants tax waivers to Dangote, Mikano, 103 others. You'll find details of that on page 28 of the Punch newspaper. U.S. indicts Nigerian for $690,000 scam. False citizenship claim. U.S. indicts Nigerian for $690,000 scam. False citizenship claim. You'll find that story on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. And finally, from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, Lagos LG chair aspirant withdraws for Obasa's son. Lagos local government chair aspirant withdraws for Obasa's son. You find that story on page 6. Of course, you know that Lagos State, they are preparing for local government elections in July. And a lot has been happening. The other day I saw the requirements, the forms for you to contest. The form for chairmanship is about 5.5 million naira. The form itself is 5 million naira. Then you have to pay 500,000 administrative fees. Then for the females, the form is 2.5 million naira. Then they'll still pay 500,000 administration fees. And I was just wondering, why the discrimination? What a man can do, a woman can do better.
All right.
So anyway, that'll be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. And I think that brings us to the end of the newspaper review segment of the show this morning. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay with us.
Yeah.